Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lessons of the Wild podcast, the beginner's guide to hunting. I'm your host, Alex Hernandez. Today's episode, we are joined by my good buddy, Mr. Troy Miller of @EatLiftHunt on Instagram. If you haven't started following him, you should. If you want some great fitness tips and some overall good meals and hunting stuff, he's the dude to follow. Today, him and I had a beer or two, went over some hunting safety stuff. If you feel like we left out anything and that you think's important, please let us know at lessonsofthewild@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at lessons_of_the_wild. All right, everyone. With that being said, I hope you enjoy. So before Troy and I get into it here, I wanted to clarify something from episode number 5, our Fundamentals to Firearms podcast. It was brought to my attention by Scott. Thank you for writing in, Scott, that I might have made it seem like that I hunt with a round that is full metal jacket, which is, 1, inaccurate, and 2, it is super illegal. A full metal jacket round does not expand on impact and thus passes through an animal, and they're very illegal to hunt with, and if they are legal, you shouldn't hunt with them. I hunt with a ballistic tipped round, which does expand on impact. It does have a jacket up until the very, very end, in which they put a synthetic piece of plastic point on there. So it has the aerodynamics of a full metal jacketed round, or similar to, but it has the ability to expand on impact, and those are legal to hunt with. So I just wanted to clarify. I'm sorry for the delay. Here's Troy and I. All right, we're live. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we get started, dude, I'm down 2 more pounds as of this morning.
That is excellent.
Dude, it's working.
That's
great.
big time. We're, what, like 4 weeks in?
I think 3, right?
3.5, yeah.
Yeah.
3.5.
8 pounds.
Hell
3.5 weeks.
That's what I like to hear.
Solid. For everyone who doesn't know, Troy, Mr. Eat Lift Hunt, has been putting me on a fitness program so we can win this. Is it Built to Hunt? It's Built for the Wild now.
Built for the hunt, something like that. I don't know.
Built to Hunt, Built for the Wild.
They're figuring it out.
They just changed it, but they have a little challenge going. So down 8 pounds, gonna win a Traeger.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's win some Traegers and some monies.
That'd be dope, man.
That'd be really dope. And he's here to join us today talking about hunter safety.
Nice.
Real fun. Real fun. When did you take your hunter safety course?
Dude, I, honest to God, cannot even remember. It was back when I was probably like 12 or something.
Really?
It's got to be expired, right?
Yeah, because you started.
Does it expire? Does it ever expire?
I don't think it does. I think it's a lifetime.
I don't know. I remember when I was in elementary school or middle school or something, I went to Camp Earl Wallace. It was offered by, I think, by the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, and it kind of introduced kids to all things outdoors. That's where I discovered archery.
Oh.
That's where I first discovered it, and that's how that started. And also part of that camp was getting your hunter safety orange card or whatever it was.
That's awesome. Kentucky's like fishing game is
It's
another level.
Yeah,
it is
on point.
Indiana's like, I had Indiana's. I did Indiana's because that's where I'm from, but it was just like, meh. We took a class. We had to take hunter safety, and I did it twice. Did I ever tell you that? So
yeah, you did.
I did the online version, which
Mhm.
is the tits. It's great. And then I did the in-person, which was freaking terrible. Like, it was awful. It was like 2, like, really nice guys, but they just kind of had their own way of going about it. It didn't really cover nearly as much.
Was it worse than the concealed carry class?
I never had to take one.
Oh man,
I
the one
had
in
my
Kentucky,
Indiana
it's
one.
so boring.
Is it?
It's so boring.
I need to take the Kentucky one because my Indiana one's like a floppy piece of paper. It's just destroyed now.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can get like a plastic
My Kentucky
one.
one's expired. I need to,
They expire? Oh.
because I moved. So
Oh.
my address is wrong on it now, which I read in the little fine print that means it's expired now since I moved and the address is not right anymore. And you're supposed to renew it like within 30 days of changing your address.
Whoops.
I don't know. It's been like a year and a half, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the consequences of that will be, but
I'm sure there'll just be a little extra
Probably-
paperwork to do.
yeah.
Or maybe I have to take the class again.
Oh, that would really suck. That would really suck.
Well, if you do, let me
If that's
know.
the case, I probably wouldn't even do it since I'm going to be moving here in
Yeah, in a minute.
less than 6 months. Jesus Christ, like 4.5 months.
Dude, not even 4.5 months, right?
May? Are you
June.
I'm leaving
June
May.
9th is when I leave.
I'm moving to Missouri. They don't carry. You could just carry whatever you want over there. Like, you got a shotgun in your pant leg? America.
Fuck yeah.
It's great. It's really great, man. But back to hunter's ed. So
Yeah.
every state, it seems, has hunter's ed requirement.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, and if you're gonna hunt there, you have to take the course. Now, some states have some reciprocity. Like if you take Indiana's, I can hunt Kentucky, Missouri, most of the Midwest. But I don't know if that works out for like out west. So it's state dependent. So make sure you take your hunter safety. It's super important. It's super illegal to hunt without it, but it's very very helpful as well, and pay good attention to it. I like the online hunter's education courses. I thought I wrote down the website here, but I don't think I did. Oh yeah, hunters-ed.com, and they cover like 40 states, which is huge. There's like it's mostly eastern states that don't seem to allow it, and maybe like one western state.
You're looking at the microphone like it's like
You
it's
talking to
watching
me?
us.
Talking to me, Mike. This beer, one beer in.
Half a beer in.
Mhm.
Oh man,
But yeah,
that's cool though. I didn't know there was a thing that covered multiple states.
yeah, it's pretty solid, and it just depends on they. If you go on their website, you can like pick your state and see what additional requirements, if any, there are. So like, I think Alabama had like you need to fill out this form too,
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. But
And it's easy stuff. It's so not worth not doing it.
Yeah.
Like it
Just
takes
do it.
5 minutes
And-
or whatever. Like don't.
especially if you're a new hunter, man, I learned a lot as a new hunter. I didn't know
Right.
half
yeah.
the things to think about, like tree stand safety. Like,
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
That's when
that's
you
huge.
told me we were going to talk about hunter safety today. The only thing I thought about was getting in and out of a tree stand.
it's
That was the only thing I
super
thought
sketchy.
about. There's
Super
so,
sketchy.
I could talk for hours about that.
Yeah, man, we're gonna, so don't worry. So that's what you got to do. Highly recommend that hunter's ed course, but make sure your states allow it, and make sure there isn't additional requirements, and pay good attention. And mine took about 13 hours actually. It's like
Did it really?
13 hours worth of stuff. But I did the in-person one too, and it just was not even nearly as good. But that could just be my personal experience. Probably depends on who's teaching.
I can't remember anything about mine. Like I said, it was over 10 years ago, and it was at a week long camp. So I imagine that we probably did stuff for it every day, and like part of having completed the whole camp, that probably went towards
Yeah, man, that'd be solid for a
getting
kid.
it. I don't know.
Because like mine was like these guys just assumed we all came from hunting culture. It's like
Right, yeah.
Indiana, a little bit of redneck area, and
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, well we all know this. Like, I mean, I've been shooting guns, that's why I know that, but I wouldn't have known then if I was fresh out of the gate,
Yeah. Oh, so I'm looking up that camp I was telling you about. So it is still a thing. It's called Camp Earl Wallace. You can go onto Kentucky Fish and Wildlife's website and just search it, and it is a summer camp. Register by April. So, folks, if you want to get your kids into hunting, or really anything outdoorsy, fishing, any of it, look this up. It was awesome for me. It was one of the best things I did in my childhood, as far as like getting into outdoor stuff.
Yeah, man, I wish I had something like that. I kind of have been just on my own.
It was super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about firearm safety.
Firearm safety.
Let's see, when you think of guns, hunting, what do you think the number one rule would be?
Just always point it at the ground or straight up in the air,
Yep.
unless you're trying to shoot something.
Yeah, you're trying to kill something or someone.
And I say that instead of always keep the safety on, because even if you may think you have the safety on, or you may even have the safety on, your firearm might like
Discharge.
just
Yeah.
like malfunction and that kind of thing. And just the safest way to do it is always point it at the ground or always point it straight up.
Yeah, my buddy's dad, who's a big influence in my hunting, he always tells me a loaded gun has never killed anyone, which obviously isn't true.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that
Yeah,
before too.
it's just like, well, no one ever thinks it's loaded.
Right.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
actually have a kid I went to high school with. They were cleaning their guns and shot his brother in the head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, little brother, he was like 10.
Oh my God.
Yeah, super, super sad.
I've had a misfire before when I was cleaning my 9mm, and I thought I had checked it. I had the magazine out. I was like, it's empty. I've checked it, and it went off while I was
Whoa.
cleaning it.
Where?
Um,
Was it at the range?
no, it was actually indoors. It was a
What?
few years back, and it freaked me out.
Dude, I'd be extra paranoid.
I will sit there and rack my gun about half a dozen times
Yeah, I
now
do the
before
same
I
thing.
before I do anything with
That's
it.
crazy. Did it put like a hole in the wall or what
Yep.
happened? Yeah. Did
Hole
it
in
go
the floor.
through- Hole in the floor? Well, at least
Yep.
it was in the ground, right? You're
Yeah.
not going through a neighbor's house.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Yeah, man, we've been dealing with guns for a long time.
I know.
Stuff still happens.
Yeah. Can happen to anybody.
Yeah. And you had to point it at the ground, thankfully.
Right.
A lot less damage.
Wasn't looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. God, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that has my next note is don't rely on gun safety. That all guns are always loaded.
Yeah.
Now, do you wear hearing and eye protection when you hunt?
Hearing protection always.
Yeah, me too.
Not eye protection typically. I probably should,
Yeah,
but since when I'm hunting is typically
I want.
I'm not shooting, and if I do shoot, it's one shot, and there's not a ton of stuff flying around. It's,
Yeah,
it's not that important to me. But if I'm like on the range, if I'm sighting in a gun or something, yes, I'm wearing
Yeah,
eye
me
protection too.
I tend to. I've been trying to just wear my glasses because I'm blind as a bat when I hunt,
Sure.
just to kind of double down. But
That's
I
fair.
always wear hearing protection.
Yeah,
A lot of hunters don't, and like
I know.
I have tinnitus from like shooting a 22 growing up without ear
I
protection.
occasionally get a little tiny bit of it.
Yeah, just
but
like,
yeah,
yeah, that's terrible.
um,
I think hunters kind of lack that a lot.
yeah.
A whole lot.
Especially a lot of the guys who are older than us. Like I think John Dudley's talked about him having
Some hearing
some
stuff.
tinnitus, yeah, from just years of not using hearing protection. And
Dude, I just like my stepdad always told me, he's like, 22, you don't need. It's like not loud enough. Still hear ringing when I go to sleep every
Mhm.
night. Drives me
every night,
crazy.
really?
Almost every night.
Wow.
If it's dead silent, like it'll never be actually dead. I need some kind of
Yeah.
noise.
I only get it probably like once a week, maybe
Yeah.
even less often than that.
I'll get like maybe once every 2 weeks. My hearing will just straight up go out, and then I'll just hear ringing for like
Wow.
a solid. It's weird.
That's crazy.
It's not good. I can still hear fine, but I know when I'm older,
Yeah.
it's gonna be bad. So I wear like the over the ear
Yes.
like
The
electronic
muff style,
Yeah.
electronic that like amplifies sound
Yeah,
when it's not a
yeah.
gun. I wear those too, and I was gonna bring that up if you didn't, but I love those.
Dude, they're the
Love
best.
them.
They're great.
And even when you're hunting, they're great because you can turn them up so you can hear better.
Yeah, which is
So you're hearing more stuff when you're not shooting, and then it's still deadening the sound of the gun.
yeah.
However, squirrels already sound like
Dude,
deer.
I know. I
So
was just
squirrels
about to
sound like
say that.
fucking rhinoceroses.
What's coming to kill me?
So sometimes I don't.
yeah,
have
I'll
it
have
turned
to
up.
turn it down. I'll
Yeah.
even like just take one ear off,
Yeah.
like the ear
yeah,
that's not next to the gun. So if I
Yeah.
do have to shoot quickly, like I'm not going deafened.
yeah. I do recommend the over ear style.
Yeah. I want to. So I wear glasses, right? So
Mhm.
it kind of hurts my head after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna switch to the in-ear ones, like Dimitri has.
Ooh, yeah.
He's got the custom fit.
I'm not classy enough for those.
Yeah.
I haven't tried those before.
Yeah, I
But
want
that
to
would
get
be nice.
some.
Because I know what you mean. When even like sunglasses or something
Yeah,
like
they just
that,
kind of dig in.
it'll kind of bug you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel. I feel like I don't actually get a seal, so I don't feel like it's as good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to start wearing consistent eye protection though somehow. Even if it's just clear glasses.
Yeah.
You know, because it takes one ricochet, especially in our line of work. You know,
Right.
need your
Yeah.
eyeballs. Real bad.
Yep.
All right, simple one. Don't do drugs or alcohol when handling a firearm.
Yeah. Don't do the alcohol for sure. Yeah. I would agree
or
with
the
that.
drugs. You kind of condoning the drugs.
No, I just thought it was funny the way you said. Funny the way you said that. But yeah, definitely not. That would be such a bad idea.
Yeah, terrible, man. I've never. Well, I've heard of people drinking beer in the stand.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
God, that's
I've-
such a bad idea. Such a bad idea.
Yeah, that's just asking.
Like,
for
can you
it.
imagine getting out of a tree stand with a buzz?
No.
That'd be. I'd die. I'd die immediately.
Especially some of the tree stands that I hunt are 25 feet tall.
Yeah,
And, like,
sketchily made.
It makes you
sometimes.
dizzy when you're up there
Yeah.
sober.
The tree's
Yeah.
rocking a little bit. It
Yeah.
just takes a little extra rock to tumble on out.
Yeah.
Hung by your tree, like your harness or whatever. Okay, this is an important one. Know what is you're shooting at, and what's behind it.
Truth.
Yeah, man. I
think you talked about this in
yeah,
a previous
I did.
one, right?
I did. My in-laws have a stand that it's overlooking the bottoms, right? It's a river bottom that we hunt over that he farms, and behind you is a hill, and deer like to come from behind. However, there is a house kind of in line with your shot if it isn't directly on the hill.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not even gonna look behind there.
Yeah.
I don't want buck fever to make me do something stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a 22 can travel a mile and a half.
Really?
Yeah. Did you
Damn,
know that?
I did not know that.
until researching all this stuff. 22.
Huh.
Little tiny little baby.
That's crazy.
A mile and a half. So
Yeah.
shooting the ground, know what you're shooting at.
Yeah.
Don't just see movement. I talked to some people, and I'm not going to say his name, but at the dental school, big guy.
Yeah.
He's like, I saw some movement, so I took a shot. I was like, what?
Oh my god.
I was like, yeah, we wounded it.
Oh my.
What if that was
dude.
a human? What if that was a human?
That's
Like, I
such
didn't
a
say
bad
anything.
idea.
But oh man, that could have been a person.
That is ill-advised,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Especially imagine if you're overlapping with turkey season or something, right? What if some dude's out there in no orange, trying not to be seen by turkey,
Yeah.
dead?
God.
Yeah, don't ever do that. That is a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it scares me thinking about people doing stuff like that.
And also outside of, I know we typically focus a lot on deer hunting, but for those people who are listening to this podcast because they want to start getting into bird hunting or rabbit hunting or squirrel hunting, things that are, those are probably easier to access than deer hunting for a lot of people.
For sure.
Especially buy a cheap 20 gauge shotgun.
Yeah,
Those
or
are super.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that can involve hunting with dogs, and if you're hunting small game, know where the dogs are.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
accidentally shoot
huge.
a dog, because, especially if it's not your dog, the guide will lose their mind.
I mean, if you shot a dog anyway, everyone would lose their mind.
Yeah.
It's a dog.
But yeah, a lot of times dogs will flush stuff, and especially rabbit hunting, if they're chasing them, know where the dog is the whole time.
Don't be shooting close to the dogs, especially with
Yeah,
the scatter gun.
and don't with a shotgun, if they flush like a pheasant or something, don't shoot straight over top of the dog's head.
Oh, and let's talk dove hunting. Don't shoot at low birds.
Oh my god.
Oh man, I did it once and I got yelled at. I was like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, if I ever saw the people that pepper me with shot when I'm out dove hunting,
Yeah.
I would yell at them.
Yeah,
But it's happened many times.
Yeah, he yelled low bird afterwards. It's like, oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
So it happens to everyone, but just think about it. Safety needs to be number one priority. But man, getting peppered with stuff isn't fun.
Yeah.
No, it's scary.
not.
Especially if you're not wearing eye protection. That's definitely when you need more eye protection.
Right.
100%.
Yep.
Going out in the field, it's terrifying. All right. Do you keep any tape on your barrel when you go out hunting?
Tape on my barrel?
Tape on the end of your muzzle.
No.
No. I'm going to start because keeping obstructions out of your barrel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I've
That's fair.
done the research, and people put a little piece of duct tape on the end, and it doesn't affect your round because the air pressure of the expandable shoots the tape off. It's a real simple way to keep stuff out of your barrel.
Huh.
And it's you can have catastrophic malfunction.
A couple years ago, at a sporting goods clearance store, they're going out of business. I bought a couple of little. They're kind of like the shape of these beer cans, but a little smaller. And they're just covers for your muzzle, and they go over the end of your gun, and they have a little elastic band that goes around the other end to hold it on.
Yeah, when you're walking in the stand.
Yeah, for the same purpose.
I think
But yeah, I suppose tape would do exactly the same job.
And if you're out west and you're hiking,
Yeah.
That's taking off that thing was a big extra step. Where
Right.
you just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger.
No, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing that. I definitely I'm always pretty aware of what's going on in my barrel, but I'd like to think about it less.
Mhm.
Just a little bit, which is good. All right, know your weapon. What does that mean to you, Troy?
You know,
Take it
it
out
kind
to
of
dinner. Take it on a few dates.
to me that means you should have shot it before you go out hunting.
Yeah, and not just once.
Because I think, did we talk about last time the first time that I shot at a deer with another guy's rifle and he said it was
I
calibrated?
think you and I might have talked about it, but I don't think the podcast.
Well,
go
anyways,
on.
we'll do it. We'll do a first year podcast, and I'll tell that story again. But basically, I shot a person's rifle that I had never shot before. I was told that it was sighted in. It was not sighted in, and that is like the smallest possible thing that could go wrong.
Yeah.
Worst things could be if it's been really poorly taken care of for years and years and years, and you pull the trigger and it explodes in your face.
Yeah, which would be a good time at the hospital
Yeah,
or dead.
you'd spend some time in the hospital.
Yeah, and know how it works, where the safeties are, how the mechanisms work, know when something's wrong, what kind of ammunition.
Know
it
how to
takes.
troubleshoot. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta
If
know
it
how to
gets
troubleshoot.
jammed, know what to
Yeah,
do.
don't be buying a rifle the day before season and then going to go hunt. You need to be out in the range, shooting, practicing. Spend some time with it.
And probably it'd be good to have cleaned, like disassembled and cleaned your firearm before you ever hunt with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
so that you know
Oh, yeah.
the inner workings. I think that's important.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge thing.
Mhm.
At least the most basic way to break it down. You can always get it serviced
Yeah.
fully. Like just clean the barrel and action at minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire.
That's a simple one.
Yeah.
Real simple one. If you're gonna, even when you're aiming at your target, that finger doesn't touch your trigger until you're ready to pull it.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. I like the finger point whenever I'm holding a gun,
Yeah.
pointing at your target.
Right.
Pew pew.
Correct.
Yeah. Good times. Unload your gun before doing anything besides walking, or even walking. for that
Yeah,
matter.
even walking.
Yeah, even walking. I don't know why I put besides walking, but getting in a vehicle, take bullets out. Going over a fence, take bullets out.
Yeah.
Getting in your stand, take the bullets out. Walking, don't have a bullet chambered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that simple. Like, oh, well, we already talked about be aware of people and then dogs around you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about some wilderness safety. Billy, you're such a sap. What do you think about? What do you think the most important thing you should do when you go out somewhere like in the woods, safety-wise, is?
Make sure that somebody else knows where you're going.
That's
Yeah.
pretty. No one.
Tell somebody.
Just have someone aware of. Hey, if I'm not back by then, maybe send some help.
I just have like a permanent share my location thing on my phone for Emily,
That's
so that
clutch.
every time I go out in the field, she can pinpoint where I am if she can't hear from me.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so if something happens to me, my phone is always going to be sending my location to somebody.
They make those SOS things too now, where it's like you press a button and sends to your local law enforcement or whatever an SOS.
It's called Life Alert, and when you fall down in your shower,
Yeah, they've had that for a while.
if you've fallen and you can't get up.
I wonder if they make that now. They should. But it's like, I was listening to a podcast, the Hunters Collective. This guy got attacked by a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Have you listened
I
to
haven't
that?
listened to the podcast, but I saw the story.
Dude, nuts. But they hit that SOS button, and like they were in a Fognac Island in Alaska, which is like inhabited by like 35 people. So it went to like the main city.
Dang.
Yeah, the only downfall of it was like they didn't know what was going on, so they weren't like prepared for like a situation. Like they just know someone's in trouble. So they actually they satellite phoned and called like, hey, he was attacked by a bear, and the Coast Guard came. But, yeah, man. Like make sure you have a safety net in case you don't make it back in time.
Yeah.
Recently I had a buddy fall out of a stand, and like luckily he had his phone on because he broke his kneecap, and
Fuck.
gashed his hand open. He was, like couldn't move. But he
Dang.
called my brother-in-law because they're really close buddies. I just know him from hunting and being married now. But like got a call in, like got him to the hospital. He was out of work for a long time. Like
Shoot.
it's long recovery. Like how do you can't cast a kneecap? Like yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been rough. So just make sure you know what's going on. Yeah, and have a way to contact someone in case of something happening. Like whether that be a sat phone, cell phone.
Yeah.
Like if you're just in the woods and you have service on your phone, but if you're going backcountry, I think a sat phone might be a must.
Yeah, I think if you're like going to go public land hunting, before you go out on your first hunt, and I'm speaking from experience here, before you go out on your first real hunt, go out and scout and see if your cell phone has service.
Yeah.
Because I did that. I went out for my first hunt on public land this past year and had not scouted it first. And I got out and was sitting in my spot that I decided to set up in and looked out on my phone and realized I didn't have service.
No.
I was like, shit, this is
Dangerous.
probably not ideal. I need to go back closer towards the, civilization. And so I think that would be a decent piece of advice.
Yeah. Just have some
Know
way of
beforehand if you've
communications.
got service.
Yeah. And that brings us into our next point: knowing your terrain and scouting, having good maps.
Yeah.
Like knowing what's going on, where you're going. I haven't used, but my brother-in-law uses, and he showed me Onyx
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
his phone, and he has GPS coordinates that always work, whether he has
Yep.
service or not. Like, it knows the maps, and you also know who owns the land in
Mhm.
case you're questioning.
It looks like a pretty legit service. It is you have to pay for it, which I did not do this past year because I just wasn't doing enough public land hunting. But this coming deer season, assuming I do not have access to private land and will be doing mostly public hunting,
Yeah.
I'll probably subscribe.
Yeah, I'm moving to Missouri, so there's plenty of public land out there. I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to get it. I want to get a public land buck really bad, man.
I want to get a public land anything.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
Well, we get dove every year. Public
Well, yeah.
land.
I mean deer,
Yeah.
male or female.
I'd like red meat from
Yeah.
public land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But knowing your terrain is huge, and knowing how to read a map. Have a backup too, because what if your phone dies? What if you drop it? And the
Yeah.
screen breaks.
And don't rely on Google Maps or any of
Yeah,
those
no.
internet browser maps because they don't tell you. You're looking at an overhead thing. Even if you're using the satellite view, you're looking at overhead, and if it's forested area, you can't see where there's a 50-foot cliff.
Yeah.
It just looks like trees,
Yeah, there's green.
where there may be a big drop off that you may be planning to cross that area and then get out there and realize you're stuck and
Something bad.
can't get across.
Yeah, and they call those traditional maps are called topo maps or topography maps.
Mhm.
Learn to read it. YouTube has great little courses on how to read a topo map. It takes some practice, but it's worth finding the maps for the area if they have them. They sometimes don't have them, but just scout. That's where scouting comes in. You know, where you want to
Yeah.
be. You know what kind of terrain. You're being safe. You're going slow. You're not worried about jumping animals as much. It's a good way to do it. All right. Next one. This is kind of good for us to be talking about with our medical background. Be prepared for injury.
Yeah.
So first aid kit. I think personally, and you can show your opinion on this. I think a tourniquet's probably the most important piece
Yeah.
of emergency equipment.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And that doesn't mean you need to pack something that you've explicitly determined to be your tourniquet.
Yeah.
Just like if your pants have belt loops, just always make sure you got a belt on.
Yeah.
Or if you're bow hunting and you're wearing maybe bibs and you don't have a belt or anything, worst case scenario, whip out your knife and cut your freaking bowstring off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure. Your life isn't worth $100.
and also keep your face away from it when you do that because
Yeah.
something will probably explode.
Turn away. And
Yeah, I
snap.
might have just given terrible advice, but if you're bleeding out,
Yeah.
it's okay if your bow explodes. Just
Yeah. Make sure you're safe.
yeah.
And I think bleeding is probably bleeding or falling is probably the biggest cause of injury in hunting. I would say.
Yeah.
Because we're just
That's
carrying.
falling.
Yeah. I mean, falling. We're carrying things meant to kill things, right?
Yeah.
So if you fall on that, there's a high risk of you becoming the receiving end of that, or a buddy making a mistake, shooting at something that's moving,
Hmm.
not being aware. So be ready for that. Broadheads. I saw some guy, I forget his name. I think he does a podcast because I'm obsessed with podcasts. But he fell on his broadhead, got it through the leg.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ah.
but missed his artery, thankfully. But he had a tourniquet, and he used a lighter to make a pressure thing when he tied with his belt. It's nuts.
Oh, that sounds painful.
No, and he had the perfect three.
3-blade
Yeah,
puncture.
it's it's gonna be an awesome scar, but that
Oh.
sucks.
Oh.
Yeah, man, that'd be terrifying. Like, and luckily, I had 3 guys there. But imagine if you're alone. Like, you gotta have a way to get out. Tell someone where you're at,
Yeah.
and it's through the lake. So it's either you're gonna suffer and walk your happy ass out of there yourself, but if you can't, what are you gonna do? You got to be prepared for that. God forbid you get shot in the leg,
Yeah.
you know, and you just put that tourniquet on quick. If you can, I would take a first aid course if you're going to be hunting public land alone. Hell, it's probably good for you to take just in
God,
general.
really, everybody should just know how to do first aid.
Yeah, CPR too.
Yeah.
Like some hunting with a buddy has a heart attack.
I had a patient this week who said he had a heart attack while hunting.
Jeez.
Yep. He said it was a massive heart attack, too.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
It's a miracle that he's alive.
I know.
Yeah. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So carry your bare aspirin. What else? The oxygen tank might be a little much, but
Yeah. If you're
I'm
hunting,
going through Mona right now.
if you're hunting with an old person who's got heart problems, make sure they bring their nitroglycerin with them.
yeah, no kidding, and bare aspirin. Yeah, and falling, huge. Just falling in general, off of things, down things.
Yeah.
Tumbling, be bad. So be prepared. I already talked about having a map. Get a compass too. Learn how to properly use a compass. YouTube again. That's how I learned.
What are your thoughts on the iPhone compass?
I don't trust it.
You don't trust it?
I mean, I trust it when that's like it has to have service though, right? It doesn't just orient. Like I always have a compass. Granted, I just broke my compass because I accidentally left it in my pants and washed it, so it doesn't point north anymore. But
Points towards the dryer.
yeah. But having a compass, you just need a non-malfunction. No chance of malfunction. Like
Yeah, that's probably smart.
yeah, because a phone. Like how many times have we broke a screen on a phone nowadays? Especially an iPhone.
Often.
God, so many times.
Yeah.
And it just takes one drop, and especially if you fall or
Yeah.
something. Like
Yeah.
boom, gone, donezo. Go through water, get taken away by a river. Phone's done. So stick mechanical. That's why I like maps too. Having a map of the area,
Yeah.
you can kind of figure your way out if you know where north, south, east, west is.
Yeah.
And you can kind of figure out where you are by reading the terrain, right? That's why topo's good. Okay, dress for the weather. This is a huge one that you and I have been talking about a lot
Yeah, man.
recently because I think my equipment is not satisfactory for this anymore. I know you had really good thoughts on it, so why don't you take the lead on this one?
Did I?
Yeah, about your freezing your ass off after walking in.
Oh God! Well,
Yeah.
I feel like most people who have been hunting for a while, for like a season or two, can relate to this. But like, you're gonna want to go to a place. You're gonna want to go to a stand that is far enough away from the road or your camp or whatever that the deer are going to be comfortable there. So you're going to be walking like probably a good half mile, probably longer sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm walking 2 miles. And if it's cold out and I'm dressed in several layers and I'm hiking my ass up a hill, I'm gonna get to the stand and be just sweaty. Just swampy, just
Which
moist.
is a super dangerous place to be.
Which is fine for 5 minutes, but then you like sit down and it's cold, and then everything starts cooling off. Your body's no longer producing that heat, and those wet like layers of clothes that are closest to your body are just freaking freezing. And like it just makes the rest of your day miserable. It makes it so hard to do a sit any longer than a couple hours, which sucks.
Yeah, and that's if you're going home. Imagine you're out in BFE
Right.
camping.
Yeah.
What do?
Yeah.
Like you freeze. You
Yeah.
can potentially freeze to death and
Yeah.
get hypothermia.
Or
Super dangerous.
rain also
Oh, yeah.
makes a huge difference. I had a learning experience with that this year.
Yeah.
It was, it wasn't that cold. It was like 40 degrees out, 40, 50 degrees, something like that. And it was going to rain that day. I was like, okay, I got rain gear. I got it all picked out. I picked a stand where the rain was going to be coming from behind me so I could shield myself with the tree. So I'm like set up for it. Fine. So I sit there and I just get pounded with rain for like 2 hours.
God, so awful.
And you know what? It was fine. I was perfectly comfortable. I was like, yes, I dressed for it today. I'm good. I'm a little bit wet, but I'm fine. But then it stopped, and this front rolled through that was like just 15-mile-an-hour wind, just constant.
Cutting through those
And
clothes.
I was absolutely shivering so hard that I couldn't have taken a shot if
Really?
I had seen anything.
Oh, man.
And it was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, luckily, I was on private land, and we had a box blind, 100 yards away or something like that had a heater in it. So I climbed my ass down. I was like, if I'm this uncomfortable, there's no way any animals are coming out. I'm going to go get warm. So I climbed down. I even left my bow in the stand. I didn't even bring it with me.
You didn't tell me that. I
Dude,
didn't know
I
that.
climbed down. I went into this box blind to crank that heater up.
Just laid by it.
I ran it for about an hour until I was dry and warm. And then by that time, it was like 3 o'clock, so I hopped out and climbed back up in the tree.
Yeah, man.
It was all good, but I mean, if I didn't have that box blind, I would have
Screwed.
been screwed.
Yeah. So, most hunting gear is made of cotton.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And cotton kills 100%.
Yeah.
Cotton is super dangerous. Wool is the way to go.
Yeah, and let's be honest, most of us newer hunters are not going to be going out and dropping $1,000 on a Sitka or a First Light
No.
system.
You mean $1,000 on the pants?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Eventually, yeah, their stuff seems to be the way to go. But I mean,
Just
when
to
you're
keep
wearing
it simple, though.
the Walmart stuff and the whatever, like I have been for however many years now, yeah, it's tough, man.
It's super tough.
It's tough.
But wool is made of animal, sheep, fur, right? And it can get wet and still insulate you. So that's the way to keep safe. Keep your base layers wool socks, wool pants, wool underwear, and it'll keep you warm versus cotton, which allows evaporation to freeze you
Yeah,
to death.
yeah. And on the subject of wool socks, I feel like I should say that buying boots a size bigger than what is comfortable, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah.
But as much as it's not comfortable to be hiking around in boots that are a little bit too big, once you're sitting still, if your feet are stuck in one spot and you
man.
can't wiggle your toes, your feet are gonna freaking freeze.
Yeah, man.
At least like my extremities just get really cold really quickly, like almost like Raynaud's type of thing.
Yeah, mine do too.
But I make sure to wear boots that are a little bit too big so that I can move my feet around in them and keep them circulating, and that seems to help me a lot.
Yeah, the movement is said to be the key to keeping warm extremities. Not
Yeah. I don't even wear
layers.
2 pairs of socks anymore.
Yeah,
That's a waste
you're not
of time.
supposed to.
It's a waste of
It's
space.
apparently the tighter things are,
Yeah.
it cuts off circulation to your extremities a little bit.
Yeah.
So when your body's cold, it just instant freeze.
Yeah, I just wear some loose wool
Yeah.
fuzzy socks.
Yeah,
I'm just super comfortable.
I'm gonna invest in an insulated boot, just to kind of
Yeah.
sitting on a stand, that metal saps heat from your feet.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Because we had talked about that. My fly fishing boots, my wading boots, I have they're the kind that have interchangeable outsoles.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking about wearing those with the felt soles on them. Because you have the felt soles
the
for when
tree
you're
stand.
walking on
Yeah.
rocky creek bottoms that
Yeah.
are slippery. Wear those in the tree stand. You've got a built-in carpet right there. And you can even hike in with the rubber soles and switch them out when you get in the stand. Man,
I'll
this
let you
is-
do that. You let me know how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah,
I was gonna get Schnee's makes a good boot that has a liner, like a felt liner, not a felt liner. I don't know what it is, but they're interchangeable. So if one
also,
gets
that idea is
wet-
my intellectual property.
Yeah,
FYI.
just so everyone knows, you have to trademark. Oh God. Yeah, I mean, it might work. You just let me
I'm
know.
just saying,
Yeah.
it's not a bad
When I
idea.
when I get a paycheck, man, I'm gonna get some new boots because I wear quarter high. I don't know if it's called quarter high, but hiking boots. They're great hiking
Yeah.
boots, but there's no insulation. They're meant for hot weather hiking.
I've got some insulated, winter, 400 gram Thinsulate
Yeah.
boots. I'm not a huge fan of them because they're super heavy and not very
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
and then I've got some. Really, they're just muck boots, like Redhead, like Bass Pro brand
Yeah.
muck boots.
Yeah, I know so.
I wear those most of the year.
Yeah,
They're
why-
not breathable at all, and they're like knee high, so you can if it's hot out, your feet are just drenched in sweat, and it's gross.
Yeah.
However, they're great for cooler to somewhat cold weather because they're a little bit big. They aren't breathable, so you're not losing any heat out of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and they're good
Yeah.
for scent too, I hear.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
That
can
rubber doesn't.
I can wade through up to my knees, almost up to my knees,
That's
and not have any issues.
See, I'm
Which
like,
is good.
I've thought about like, do I get those boots? Because a lot of whitetail hunters hunt in those. Like, that's a very common
Muck
thing.
boots.
Yeah, for the reasons you just
Yeah.
stated. And like, I just like a hiking boot. I feel comfortable in a hiking boot, you know. So like,
That's fair.
you know, I don't know.
They're not comfortable walking around. Muck boots are not comfortable hiking around in, but I like them once
Yeah.
I'm sitting down.
So like, I'm trying to do the buy once, like cry once, then get like a good pair of hiking boots, so
Yeah.
I can go from like, because I'm officially planning my elk hunt. Did I tell you that?
No.
Officially started.
Really?
I listened to the Novice Hunter podcast, which you should listen to.
I really should.
Yeah, he's a good Jeff Belknap. Me and him have been talking a little bit over Instagram. Seems like a great guy. And he had a guest on who's from Louisville. His name is Jacob Coons, and he has like a hunting elk in 12 months course, and like he does like a whitetail 101 course. And I'm gonna have him on here. I talked to him, and we're gonna get him on the podcast. But yeah, man, I like immediately. I'm like, this guy is gonna get me on my elk next year.
Dude,
So I bought the
I'd
course.
be happy to join.
He sent me a bitchin' coupon, man. He gave me 50% off his course because I like talked to him. I was like, hey, I'm doing this, so we're gonna get him on, and I officially bought the class.
Does he guide hunts or does he just
No,
kind
no,
of
he
teach you the
just
ropes?
dude. The guy is super knowledgeable. Like,
So is it going to be like an OTC hunt, or
I don't know yet.
you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. I literally just like officially like I've been saying it for the most of the year. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I took the first step 2 days ago.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm pretty stoked on it, and to get him to come down, or I go there, or whatever, get him on the podcast. I'm pretty excited because the novice Jeff Belknap, the
Oh,
novice.
yeah,
Hunter
let me know
podcast.
about that.
Yeah, man. If you want to come on, I'll definitely
I'd
have
just
you.
like to, just hear what he has to say,
Yeah,
really,
man.
if nothing else.
Listen to his most recent podcast.
I don't even have to contribute anything to the podcast. I can just sit there and
listen.
listen to you
More than
guys.
welcome to. More than welcome to. But like the guy, he did his first elk hunt last year, and he like took the process of figuring that all out and put it into a course. It seems, and the guy is just incredibly intelligent. You can tell by listening to him talk that he just knows the ecology of the animals he's hunting and knows what they're doing, what they're thinking, and like I mean,
That's
I'm
cool.
sure he's not like perfect by any means, but he's just a smart dude who likes the biology of these animals. And yeah, I forgot where I was going with this, but boots. So that's why I kind of want to get these boots so like I can go out west.
Yeah,
Not have to buy a
that's cool,
whole
man.
new pair. But the muck boots are great for whitetailers. I know that, especially if you're not walking too far, or maybe just wear like a pair of sneakers out and put them on. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. I don't know. Next topic. Oh, let's talk about fire safety. I think this is a big one, especially with what happened in California this year.
Yeah.
You know, dry area, causing a forest fire, a massive forest fire.
Yeah.
You know, it's real easy to be dangerous with fire. So my big thing is clearing the area, like a good clear of the area. Clear the-
Before ever starting the
yeah,
fire.
yeah. Get rid of the duff, which is all the like leaves and junk on the ground under it. Get to bare dirt if you can, you know, and just clear an area. So if any stray sparks, which always happen,
Yeah.
like you have room, and don't be leaving a fire going, especially if it's a super dry area. Don't be leaving a fire going all night. You know, if it's winter, it's one thing, but you know, just be safe. And if there's a no burn rule, follow it because it's for a reason.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that a camper ruined the lives of how many people last year? Like, it's a messed up way to think about it. And I'm sure that guy, like, he doesn't need to feel guilty because it was an accident, but like that's what happened. The consequences of uncontrolled burn is he's responsible, or she, I don't know who did it, is responsible for the loss of families' homes and livelihoods and lives and cars, and like that's messed up. But there are huge consequences to not following the rules. So be safe. Let's talk bears.
Bears
Bears.
beats
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica.
False black bears. Great show. Great show.
Okay,
So
what
have
about
you-
bears?
Have you had any experience with bears?
No, I'm, I guess, maybe fortunate to be one of those people that gets to hunt in bear-free areas.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to hunt for bears, it would not be fortunate, but I have never gotten into bear hunting, so it's been nice to
Which
not have
is-
to worry about them.
And Kentucky has bears. Black bears.
Eastern Kentucky does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Western does too a little bit.
Western had one sighted
Which means
last year,
Yeah.
but it was just one. And it was just one time that they sighted it, so, and nobody heard anything about that afterwards. So
When
I
I,
don't
see
know if it
one was
was-
sighted, that means like 10 are there to me because everyone knows the woods, man.
well, but it would.
You don't know.
I
what's
can't
going on.
remember exactly the story, but it was really weird circumstances that it came about. It wasn't just like someone was out in the woods and saw a black bear. It was just like it was just a weird area, some sort of weird circumstance that made, for whatever reason, my father-in-law and I were talking about it. It was like there's probably not actually black bears here. Someone probably brought that
Bear,
one.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like Tennessee has a bunch of bears. Missouri has a bunch of bears. Like the surrounding
They're gonna
states
get
to
them
the
in Western
south.
Kentucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's happening.
It's gonna
As
happen
long
because they've
as-
got armadillos now, and they didn't
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
But if you drive around, Dawson Springs area, there are armadillos on the side of the road.
I think these warmer climates are pushing animals north.
Yeah,
Personally.
it's weird,
There's
but
no science behind that. That's just me speaking.
you are fake news.
I'm seeing it.
But yeah, so I don't hunt in areas that I am aware of black bears,
Yeah.
or grizzly bears, or any sort of bear at all. But I know that you have things to say about if you're in
Yeah.
bear territory.
I mean, I don't have bear experience. I've never seen a bear in the wild. I've had a bear shit next to my tent in Alaska, which is
you're lucky that's all it did next to
Yeah.
your tent.
Well, we luckily had
How next to your tent? Like
not
outside
directly
the door?
next to my
or,
tent, but we have a bear fence, right, which is an electric fence that's solar powered, just to kind of deter bears. I mean, right outside the line, there was a huge pile. We have a picture of it. I think we hung it on the wall.
you have
I
a
mean-
picture of bear shit on your wall?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was our honeymoon. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool because but bears aren't a joke, man. It takes once. It takes to get the bad luck one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. A pepper spray, like the bear spray, is a common way to do it, but
I would not freaking
I don't
trust
trust it.
pepper
I
spray.
don't trust it.
If I was going
It'd be
out
my
in
first
bear,
line.
Yeah,
And it usually
wouldn't
will
even bring
deter a
it.
bear for a minute.
I wouldn't even bring it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just-
I'd bring it.
When I just feel like as it is when I'm going out into the field, I have a very limited amount of space. Granted, part of that is because I use a really cheap, old, tiny backpack. I need to get a new hunting pack.
Yeah.
That's besides the point.
You want to buy mine?
But I feel like I need to be space efficient, and most new hunters are going to be the same way. We don't have, you're not going to go spend a
Yeah, I
ton
just
of money
use
on
a
it.
drawstring bag for
yeah.
whitetail. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to be efficient with my space. I wouldn't waste my. This is just me personally, and I have
Yeah.
no experience in bear territory. Like I said, I would not waste my space on pepper spray. It would be a 357 revolver or bigger,
Yeah, go 44.
and just
Don't 44.
I would I don't have one, but if I were in bear territory, I will
Yeah.
definitely be buying a 44 Magnum.
Well, I have a rebuttal to that.
Okay.
In that you have to be real accurate with a revolver. And I don't get me wrong, 90% like I'm carrying a revolver or a gun of some kind. If I have half of them,
Yeah.
I'm getting one for graduation. I'm pretty pumped on
Mhm.
because I've wanted one. And we always carry bear spray, but bear spray, it's like you cover a surface area.
Really?
Yeah, and it doesn't.
How much? How much?
It's a spray, man, but it's only like you only got like 10 seconds worth because it unloads. It's a
Yeah.
big. So when you
That's
buy
true.
bear mace, it comes with a practice one, and you shoot it, and it goes like it gives you a recoil,
Really?
and it's a cloud, but like it's. I've heard stories, and I don't know if they're true, but they're enough for me to carry a secondary
Yeah.
in that, a revolver, but like it'll deter a bear, but it won't stop a bear. Like
Yeah.
They'll loop around.
And again,
Especially
I don't
if
have
it's
any
a
experience,
mama.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like if a bear was close enough to me and acting aggressive enough that I thought I was being attacked, to where like bear spray would be something that I'll be getting out to use.
Yeah.
It's also that bear's probably close enough to me that I'm willing to bet my life that I can shoot it with a revolver.
Yeah.
Like it's inside 10 yards.
And the statistics say that like most people can't do that.
Really?
Yeah, most people cannot do that. So they say you carry a gun for your buddy. So if he gets attacked, you're there. So that leads me to my next point: is I would avoid hunting alone
In bear country.
in bear country.
Yeah,
That's just me. I know.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's just me.
I've never really even thought about it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Like-
animals are sneaky, dude. They can just appear out of nowhere, and if you don't have anybody with you watching your back,
Yeah.
I don't know how easily a grizzly bear could sneak up on you and you'd have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they're
I imagine
crazy
it's
creatures.
probably
Have you seen
scarily
that video going around of that
the-
mama bear
going after the black bear.
Dude, I've never seen a creature scale a tree.
I watched that like
that
4 times.
I was like, I've never been more terrified in my life.
Yeah.
Watching that
That
video,
thing
I was
covered
like,
100 yards in like a split
a
second.
second. That was faster than any like pro NFL player doing a 40
Yeah.
ever. And I was like, oh my god. So like, imagine that coming at you as fast as it is. You having to draw your weapon and be accurate, and then your adrenaline's you're
That's
just
true.
shaking.
Yeah.
You know. So I think the bear spray is probably will get you to a point where you can draw your weapon safely. Like I carried it on my
That's fair.
my backpack sling when we were in
Mhm.
Alaska. When we were out west, just hiking, because me and my wife do a lot of hiking. Microphone, I know you want to hear that. Just looking at you. I pretend it's a person when you're not here.
I imagine so.
Like it's so hard to talk to yourself. You just gotta stare at something. But I think it's valuable to have both. And I think it's not a waste of space, personally.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can get behind that argument.
And if you're hiking, they say bear bells, but they always say, how do you know a bear has been around town eating tourists? Their shit has rings. Every time they shit, it rings, and it smells like pepper spray. But if you're hunting, you want to be quiet. I know rain. That's a picture of your dad on your phone,
He's calling for some reason.
shirtless.
He's got a big bass.
Oh, that is a big
Big
bass.
bass.
I didn't see the big bass. I
Should I
just
answer?
know
Can
your
we
dad.
edit this out?
Yeah, if it's important.
Yeah, they will be. They'll be pretty solid. Hey, I'm podcasting with Alex right now. Let me talk to you later
Hi,
if
Mike.
you don't care. Alex says hey.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, man. We'll edit that out. Yeah, I'll put a little music or something.
He's super psyched about his new binoculars that we got. Did I tell you we got him the Vortex Crossfire binoculars for Christmas?
Solid.
Yep.
We
So
need to go hunting with him, man. We should go. We need to tailgate with him, your family.
yeah, we do. You're right.
Because we just need to cook a bunch of stuff.
We really should. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you should.
He hadn't been hunting in forever. He doesn't
go anymore.
He doesn't have anywhere to do it hardly.
That's a shame.
He's got a buddy who's got some family land in Western Kentucky that he'll go to once a year, but I don't think he went this
Well,
last.
dude, when I have
year, 'cause
when
he
we
had
have
shoulder
deer
problems.
camp, your dad loves to come.
Yeah, hell yeah, that'd be cool.
What were we talking about?
All right.
Bears,
Bears, yeah.
pooping, hot
Yeah.
peppers. That'll be where we start. I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah. So I think bear spray is worth it. I think it's worth the space in your bag. I carried it on my hip in my backpack, like the drawstring. I'm gonna keep my revolver right on my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think in bear country, a good backpack on your back is good in case you do get attacked. You
Mhm.
roll on your stomach, cover your head and neck,
Right, yeah.
tear into that pack more than anything,
Before they go full blown Revenant
Yeah,
Leo
no
DiCaprio
kidding.
on your ass.
Dude. I can't imagine the adrenaline rush. And the odds are in your favor. Like the odds of you ever getting attacked by a bear is super low, but
But once you get attacked, the odds are not in your
yeah,
favor.
it just takes one. It just takes one. So, yeah, be prepared. Do your research. Talk to local residents about what not to do. Oh, bear bags And food and camp. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Anything that could smell delicious needs to go in a tree somewhere. Let's talk about meat. Let's say you are lucky and you get a creature. Bears will claim kills. So if you get a huge animal that you need to part out, put that's all of it up in a tree before you start packing out anything.
What about throwing it in well, I guess you're not going to carry a big ass cooler into the woods.
No. Mm-mm. Be packing it out. But
I'm just thinking about if I'm hunting somewhere close. But okay, yeah, continue.
if you're hunting somewhere close, put that shit in your car.
Yeah.
Be done with it.
Big old Yeti cooler.
Yeah, but like toothpaste, people don't think about.
Bears like toothpaste?
Bears it smells like mint, man.
Huh.
Bears are primarily vegetarian, ironically.
Okay.
But if they find something, or find a cub or not a cub, well, male bears kill cubs. Fun fact, and eat them.
Yeah.
Cannibals,
Assholes.
sick bastards. But anything that has a scent to it, deodorant has a scent to it. Mouthwash, whatever you're bringing in that could smell, baby wipes. Put that all up in a tree, far from camp, at least 100 yards from camp.
Yeah.
If you're brushing your teeth, spit away from camp, far away from camp. Stuff like that. Anything that could draw something in, because we like to flavor things deliciously.
And bears like flavors too.
Yeah, they do. And they can smell it much farther than we can. And if you're a heavily hunted area, gunshots are the dinner bell for a lot of bear. Guts. They'll eat the remaining guts. They hear a gunshot, they're heading towards it. So part out your animal, move it quickly to a different location, and get it up somewhere. All your big stuff you're not packing out immediately.
Okay.
It's a process, but it's why we do it, right? It's work. Something to think about. Okay, bear fences. I think they're worth it. After Alaska, seeing a big pile of bear poop right outside our camp, it's like, yeah, that fence might have had something to do with it. Worth investing in.
Yeah, for sure.
Camping out, especially if you're gonna have a camp. It's just literally just a screen, like a little string. It just goes around everything, and a little electric charge through it. Just deters them. I don't know what it is.
Huh.
Worth it. All right, tree stand hunting. Now I know you got a lot to say about this.
Yeah, we can talk about this one.
Yeah, let's go.
I don't know much about bears, but I can do tree stands.
You can do the tree stands.
Yeah.
What are your big concerns getting in a tree stand? What are you thinking? Or setting up a tree stand? You know what? You take the lead on this one, boss.
Setting up a tree stand, even.
Yeah.
I mean, use all of the straps and shit that they include in all of the packages. Don't just like if you're doing a lean-to, it's gonna have you need to be using 2 ratchet straps up at the top and 2 more rope type straps that should wrap around the back of the tree, crossing and then attaching to the ladder. And you should be able to, by the time you get up in your stand and ratchet down those straps, you should be able to sit there and shake it as hard as you can. It should not move at all. And I don't think everybody does that. But I'm not down with a wobbly tree stand.
Hell,
It is.
no.
And I've done it all. I have been in not well secured tree stands. I have hunted without a harness, just using a rope wrapped around my waist as a harness.
Jesus Christ.
I've been there. This is all
It's terrifying.
from my experience. Don't do it. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Buy a nice harness. You can buy a harness that's crappy and will attach you to the tree, but is super bulky and heavy and not comfortable and might rack your nuts when you fall out of stand.
Yeah.
Or you can get a nice harness I got a nice harness as a gift a couple years ago. It's great. It's low profile. I think it's Muddy Outdoors.
Okay.
But it's low profile. The buckles are silent, so you can put it on
That's
in the
nice.
field and it's not making loud noises. It's
very
comfortable. You can hike in it. It's no big deal. Honestly, you probably need 2 people to safely put up a tree stand, so that when one person is going up in the stand to ratchet it, the other person can be holding the ladder still,
Yeah.
in case you're not on stable ground.
Yeah.
My father-in-law and I do that every year. we go out there together, put up, we have probably 2 dozen stands out there, and we go and put all the gear up in them, put new straps up, make sure everything's secure and safe. And he holds the ladder. I climb up there, ratchet all the straps down, make sure it's secure. So it's really important to make sure that your stand is secure before you ever even think about firearm safety or bow safety. Your tree stand has to be secure to the tree. It needs to be part of the tree.
For sure. And I'll add to that, like, where you hook up your harness needs to be that if you were to fall, your body isn't going past the platform.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Me personally, when I hook my stand up, and I've done it enough times now that I can pretty much eyeball it and put it in the right spot on the first try, but I like to be able to hook up my harness to the tree, and then when I'm standing there in the tree in a position that I would be drawing my bow, if I lean out more than about 8 inches over the end of the stand, I'm now being completely supported by my harness. So it's fairly restricting. It's like it makes it a little bit difficult to even reach your backpack under your seat if it's under your seat. But if you even like start to doze off, if you just fall a little bit, it's gonna hold you up.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it, especially if you got a hang to,
Yeah.
not even a lean to, just like
If you're hanging one up.
Yeah, man, which is super, super important. And if you can't get into the platform, it's just as dangerous as falling.
Right.
Yeah, because you're constricting all that blood to your body, and people die just hanging there.
Yep.
It's like it's not a
And that's
slow
why
death either.
and that's why you need to leave so at least on my harness, there's a little black bag with a strap in it, like a big long nylon strap, and it's super annoying because it like dangles there in front of me when I'm walking and shit. But what it's for is if you do fall, you can basically wrap it up through part of the harness, let it hang down by your feet, step in it with your foot, and it's going to take the weight out of the harness that's around your legs so that your legs can get blood flow again, so that you're not going to cut off circulation. So it's like a safety strap.
That's huge.
And it literally all it is just a strip of nylon.
Yeah. I don't have many tree stands I hung out of that I'm like, man, I need to have a harness for this. I definitely need to get one regardless, but that's an investment I haven't made yet. And it's stupid of me.
It's worth it in any situation, especially bow hunting. From that's mostly what I do.
Yeah, and you're moving a lot when you're bow hunting.
Because I'm not using the shooting rail. There's nothing out in front of me keeping me secure, right? So you have to have a harness on all the time.
It's super important. Luckily, I only bow hunted from a blind this year.
Gotcha.
I was pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Climbing up as well into the stand, you should have your harness hooked to something. Not just climbing up freehand. You should be latched on.
Yeah.
If you were to fall off there, that's huge. That's important. My buddy who fell this year, he got to the top rung, put a little bit of weight on the stand, and it collapsed. The strap snapped, man.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
I know that they do make harnesses that you're secured while you're climbing up the ladder, but that's not something that I have the luxury of right now.
Yeah.
But that's why my father-in-law and I put so much emphasis on pre-season tree stand safety. Make sure that everything is absolutely rock solid. You could jump up and down in the stand and it wouldn't move. Never climb up with your firearm or your bow in your hand. It always needs to be attached to the tow rope. Yep, just have a tow rope on every stand. And we switch them out almost every year so that we can make sure that they're solid. And even during the season when you know that everything's good, before you climb up, before you even attach your firearm or bow to the tow rope, yank on the tow rope. Because sometimes they dry rot. If it's weird weather, they'll just dry rot really fast. And if you put all your weight on a tow rope and it holds steady, you're good. But sometimes you do that and it will snap. And then it's like, wow, I'm really glad I didn't put my $1,000 bow on that.
Yeah, or like that could say something about your straps on your stand too.
Right, yeah, then you need to go check those.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so always check your tow rope before you climb the ladder.
Yeah. And a lot of people, like my father-in-law, they leave everything out all season.
Yeah.
Right? And trees grow,
A lot of
trees
people
change,
do that. A lot of people do that.
straps dry rot. Every year I think straps should be replaced.
Yep, we do it. We go out and check everything every preseason and every as soon as the season, or not as soon as the season closes, but basically we have like seat pads and the 4 straps that I talked about on every stand. So 2 ratchet straps around the back, and then 2 regular straps that are going from the top of the stand, crossing behind the tree and attaching to about halfway up the ladder. So during the off season, we only have 1 ratchet strap. The other 3 straps are not attached.
Okay, so they're being maintained.
So yeah, so we're keeping those indoors. They're
Yeah.
climate controlled and all that, so they're fine. But we do still every
Yeah.
year test everything before we
Get
ever
up
hunt
in
out
there.
of it.
That's the way to do it. And
Yeah.
maintenance is a huge part of tree stand hunting.
Yeah,
Just knowing your equipment, knowing how it goes up, knowing how it goes down,
Yeah.
and maintaining it is huge.
yeah. Don't leave your shit out all year. I know a lot of people do that, but
And
I.
so many people do
It's
it.
just not. It's not a good idea.
It's not safe.
No,
And
it's not.
my buddy, because my buddy who fell is part of our deer camp, and he was hunting pre-deer camp, pre-rifle season, and man, it just kind of put everyone in check because they all did their pre-checks like they do every year, and it still happened.
Yeah.
So just be prepared, and this is stuff you got to be anal about and paranoid about because it just takes one, like a bear, just takes one.
Yeah.
So that's important. Did some research, and people like to talk about the 3-point rule when climbing. Always have 3 points of contact when climbing.
Yes.
Pretty straightforward. 2 hands, 1 foot, 2 feet, 1 hand. Your head doesn't count.
Yeah.
So just have something hanging on
Yeah.
every 3 points of contact.
And know what's above you. Because you may one year you may have a perfect path going up your ladder, but the next year stuff may have grown
Yeah.
farther over, and you may have a big branch that's hanging out over it, and it may not hit you, but it might grab your pack as you're going up.
Yep.
And if you don't have those 3 points of contact, and you've got a big branch pulling on your pack, and you don't know it, when you let go with that other hand or something,
Go down.
it could pull you off.
Yeah.
So be aware.
And oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's just a dangerous situation. Oh, you're gonna be doing that in the dark.
Right.
Yeah. So preseason checks, preseason everything is humongous.
Yep.
Going up it a few times, understanding how it's working. I mean, you're gonna be going up and down, almost dark, if not dark.
Yeah.
So you got to be safe.
Mhm.
Real safe.
Mhm.
All right, man. I think that covers most of hunting safety.
I do have one thing to add.
Yeah.
We did not talk about how to get your bow or gun in and out of the stand.
Oh, okay.
We mentioned that tow ropes exist,
Yeah.
but so you need to have your tow rope obviously attached to the top of your stand. I usually attach it to one of the little armrests on your stand if you have armrests. It needs to be something strong that you can put a lot of weight on.
Like paracord.
Yep.
Yeah. Para
Just-
550.
so it's just something strong enough to hold more weight than just your gun or bow. Always when you're bringing your gun up into a stand, it has to be pointing down.
Yep.
Do not point it up.
Yep.
Just wrap the rope around the stock. Make sure it's really, really secure. Like pull on the gun once you've got it on there.
And unloaded.
Yeah, unloaded. Your magazine needs to be in your pocket.
Yep.
So that way you climb up in your tree, your gun's hanging below you, you pull it up and it's facing away from you. When you leave, same thing, gun's still pointing down, you lower it down first, it's pointing away from you, then you climb down.
Yep. And that's where tape on the barrel comes in handy.
Yeah, also that. And then with your bow, if you're someone who, really all of us are going to be using a side-mounted quiver pretty much, at least to carry your bow to the stand. I don't use one when I'm in the stand, I take it off, but when I'm walking there, I've got a side-mounted quiver. I always have my arrows, my bow facing so that my arrows are pointing the direction I'm going.
Yeah.
So when I'm going up, my arrows are pointing straight up, so when I pull my bow up, my fletchings are down, so nothing's going to be catching them and trying to pull my arrows out.
Okay.
Because and then same thing when you're climbing down, your arrows need to be pointing down. So your bow is now flipped upside down,
Yeah.
so that same thing,
Go
nothing's
down
going to
smoothly. That
right.
makes
Because
sense.
if you try to lower your bow down with the fletchings pointing down, and I've done this, but this is why I do it because I've done it many times. You lower it, it catches a tiny little branch that you don't see and pulls one of your arrows out of the quiver and
God, it's
like
terrifying.
flings it
You have a
somewhere.
yard dart coming to your
Yeah,
face.
and you know, either it's on the ground, it's not safe below you now, especially if it's dark. You don't know what you're climbing down onto. And also, like, arrows are freaking expensive.
Yeah.
You know, that's at least like $12, $15 that you've got.
Man.
You just flung it somewhere in the dark and you have no idea where it is. Like,
And as dental students, we value those $15
yeah,
quite a
just
lot.
really hunters in general. Like, we spend a lot of money on hunting
gosh,
stuff.
we spend so much money. It's like funny.
Yeah, just be aware of the orientation of your firearm as you're pulling it in and out of the stand.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I never really thought about.
Yep.
Yeah, very good point.
And at least double knot, a
Yeah.
double overhand,
Oh man.
at least.
Yeah, even triple, quadruple. All right, man. Any more concluding thoughts?
God, everybody's gonna be so safe now. It's gonna
Yeah.
be great.
I know. Good. My concluding thought is that make sure you do your hunter safety and pay good attention to, especially if you've never handled a firearm before, never hunted around people before. Every state has requirements, so look them up. Be lawful. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you to Mr. Troy Miller at Eat Lift Hunt on Instagram for joining us today. If you haven't started following him, you definitely should, so please do. Again, if you have any questions or need any clarifications or just want to tell me how much I stink or terrible at this, shoot me a line at lessonsofthewild@gmail.com or on Instagram at lessons_of_the_wild. Okay? Okay, have a good day, everyone. I appreciate you listening.